Hello guys, it's me, Inkie, and I made a plugin for live artists and producers. You've never seen anything like that. It is not synthesizer effect, it is a plugin host which you load inside your DAW, and it gives you new layer of controls and possibilities you never imagined before. And oh boy, I inserted my brain in this plugin. You'll be surprised what you can do there. So that's SnappySnap. It is not effect or synth. It's basically a plugin host which can load inside it any other plugin. It could be synth, effect, VST3, and DAW. So basically anything you can imagine you can load inside SnappySnap. And SnappySnap acting as a new layer of controls for your plugins. Firstly, we can go here and in plugin browser, we can type Saturn and we can choose the type of a plugin and plugin itself. Load, and then we can click show plugin and we have our plugin here. So I have a demo beat here. Let me click play so you can hear how it sounds. So everything works as you expect. Saturn 2 is saturating your sound. But now, let me show you something about the snapshots, and I call them snaps, but of course by right click you can rename them if you want. Snapshot is basically a save point for state of your plugin, all your plugin parameters. So let me demonstrate you. This will be snap 1. I will just move something here, save to snap 2, and now I have 2 snapshots of my plugin. And now I can interpolate or morph or crossfade between those 2 states just by moving this fader. And this is just a simple demo. One fader moving 7/5 parameters at once. So I have created 12 snapshots here with different states of my plugin. And now we're coming to a very interesting way of how you can manipulate your sound. We have here Snap Void. This is basically an XY pad, and you can see 12 dots around here, and each dot is representing the snapshot and its position on a circle. But the fun thing, this XY pad is mathematically calculates between each of the points. So if I will move it to the center, it will be completely new state because it's calculating the position relative to each of the snapshots. So you're basically exploring between your presets. So let's have a listen in the context. And this is insane. You can't do this by just using automation because it's literally like 50 parameters at once, just doing, transition into each other. And of course, you can use a fader. So this fader is going linear, just from one snap to the latest one, to 12. And there is a cool feature called elasticity. It's called elastic mode, basically. You have 3 options here, low, medium, and heavy. So what it does, it's giving the momentum to the parameters to arrive to your cursor point on snap void or on snap fader. So let's have a look how parameters now moving with the slow mode. They're arriving at the destination with a bit of like resistance. Now let's switch to the medium, and now you see it's like having a, some sort of moving through some liquid, I would say, something like that. And if we select heavy, slow, it starts to be like very, like moving through some sort of honey. Let's have a listen. To do such complex stuff just by hand drawing automation is nearly impossible. Now you can do this with a snap of a finger. Speaking about automation, I made those parameters exposed to your DAW, so Snappy Fader and Snap Void XY position is accessible to your DAW, and if you go creative with that, you can do insane stuff. Of course, you can draw automation. Let me go here to my device settings, and I will create automation for Snappy Fader here. And basically, I can draw automation to morph. To morph all states of, all 12 states of my plugin, just by one single line of automation. But we can go even more creative with that. If we delete automation here, and we can add audio sidechain. And we can assign the kick drum pre-fader to trigger snappy position. So I'll just move it here down to the beginning, decrease the rise, maybe increase the fall time, and each kick now will morph all parameters. This is wild. I bet you've never seen your plugins doing such stuff. And don't forget, you can load any plugin into it, not only Saturn, it could be Synth and Effect. And here I will tell you about another cool feature inside SnappySnap. It's called Drift Mode. So you can enable it here, but before I enable it, we just right-click on the snap board, any position anywhere, to get to the settings of the drift. So Drift Mode is basically a smart way to make your plugin alive and living its own life and behaving just like its organism. It's basically introducing a purling noise, like natural movement, to the cursor, and it will be just wandering around somewhere here. You can increase the speed, you can increase the distance, how it will go, you can increase chaos. Gravity is not applicable to free mode, but you'll see where it's applicable because here is 3 different modes as well. And of course, there is smoothness, how smooth your parameters are changing. You can freeze. If you find some cool sound, you can nudge, and it's just, kicking your bow at random place. And of course, you can reset the parameters to default state, which is in the middle. Then I can disable drift and go with entry mode. And entry mode is basically keeping the cursor wandering around the latest position where I left it. So if I will leave it here, it will be just, moving and doing something only at this point. Here, it will be entered to this point, and I will enable it, and I will just increase speed. Distance is how far it goes, and gravity is like how heavily it's magnetized to the latest point where I left it. And of course, you can freeze, nudge, and reset. Then there is another mode called Orbit. So if I will enable it, it will just go in circles and just wandering like around your presets. Let's have a listen. This one is crazy. This one is especially useful to have some living textures, which is not, hard-coded in automation or modulation. It's just living by itself. It's cool for textures, baselines, for pads, for different scenes with evolving, It's made just basically to give you like some sort of freestyle living organism for any plugin you can imagine. Alright, in this section I will tell you another insane feature. There's so many insane features here, which basically can produce you infinite amount of presets. And this is something I never seen anywhere. So I decided to call it breeding because it's breeding your presets. So I will just reset all my snapshots so they're empty, go back to my plugin, and I'll reset to default settings so you can like have a visual representation how it works. I'll create a one band here, right? And on the left position, I will save it to Snap 1. On the right position, I will save it to Snap 2. And here, you can pick any of snapshots on the left and right side. Of course, we have 2, so it will be Snap 1 and Snap 2. Then we have crossover. So crossover is, when it's to the left side, it's basically saying like, yo, your new preset will be looking more like a Snap 1 with some mix of Snap 2. In the middle is like 50-50. And on the right side, so it's like opposite to the left side. So if I will keep it just in a position here and I will remove mutation, it will create something in between here. And it created something in between when I pressed breed. So if I will move it to the left side, it will be more shifted to Snap 1. And when you're making a baby, you can have mutation. and your baby can be mutated. As you can see, the parameters are changing, and it could be really cool because, for example, you can remove these snapshots, and then you're like, oh, I have built-in presets, and you can select, okay, this one will be snap 1, and then okay, this will be snap 2, and basically you selected internal presets of your plugin, and now you can blend between them. Let's say it will be shifted more towards snap 1 with some mutation, and I will click breed. Boom, I have a new preset. I will save it to snap 3, and then I will like, okay, I want to breed snap 2 and snap 3 now, and shift it more towards snap 3 and more mutation. Breed, save. Now let's have a listen how they sound. So this will be the parent one, basically snap 1. Okay, then parent 2. Okay, they're very distinctive. Now snap 3, the baby of them. Something new, and now snap 4 is basically snap 3 breeded with, I don't remember, snap 1 or snap 2. So we can click breed as much as we want, and we will have always a new preset. And this giving the opportunity to explore something you never think of, because you can breed presets inside Serum. I will show it later. Equalizer, saturator, distortion, whatever you can imagine. So another feature which giving the opportunity to generate infinite amount of presets is randomization. And you can randomize every plugin you can imagine. And it's not like just a one click of a button. There is a few steps, to have a controllable randomization and completely unhinged one. So the randomize button is here, and if I would just tap it, as you can see, plugin go wild. You can't predict anything. There is a feedback, so you should be careful about that. It's classical randomization. I will switch to default preset now. Now, this fader representing the amount of randomization. And it's actually a smart randomization, because when it's in 100%, filling the button with this cool shader, is making full randomization. So if you imagine the value of your knob, of your parameter from 0 to 1, it will pick a random value from 0 to 1. But if you will decrease the amount, and it will be like, for example, from 1% to 99%, this will take in consideration the position of your parameter. And for example, if it's 1%, like the minimum of randomization, it will go just from 0.4 to 0.5 in the full range of your parameter values. So as you can see, now it's not so wild. It's just more gentle, I would say, randomization on the minimum amount. And of course, as I showed, this is completely unhinged. But I have also another layer of control how you randomize stuff, because sometimes you don't want to randomize every parameter, and you want to stay in the context but have some variations. So here is listen mode, and when I click it, SnappySnap will listen the parameters I will touch inside my plugin. So let's say I want to touch this one, this, and it doesn't matter the amount I'm giving, and this maybe, and then I will disable listen, and now, as you can see, green button, target learned. When I will click randomize, only those parameters will be randomized. As you can see, the rest of the plugin is staying on the same position, and now I also can introduce the amount of randomization to those parameters. So you have ability to be like in a freestyle mode, exploring something, but staying in the context. And the cool part about it, because if you switch in presets, internal one in, let's say, Saturn 2, the all parameters are unified across whole plugin, but you still have learned those parameters to be randomized. And now you can be in a new preset, and you can randomize same parameters in new preset, for example, built inside Saturn 2. So this gives you insane amount of variations and insane, field of how you can explore your presets. Here, I will explain you another layer of controls during your, funny explorations of the things here inside SnappySnap. So there's a macro knobs, which you can assign to anything like you're doing in any DAW. It's kind of what you expect, and I made them with some small adjustments, with some smart logic behind it. So you can click learn, then click on the knob and then just wiggle something, and it will automatically grab the name, so you always can remember what are you doing and what you're controlling. Then you click next one, and let's say this parameter. And now, as you expect, you can do something with it. And because those knobs are, exposed to the DAW, if you go here, and you can see micro 1 is here. And now, when you assign those micro knobs, they are automatically excluded from any randomization, any breeding, any morphing, any snapshot switching. And I made this with the logic that if you want to automate or control with your controller something inside your plugin, but still have ability to, to morph, to switch presets, to go completely unhinged, but you pinpoint the parameter, you still have a control, and it's not fighting between loaded state of snapshot and what you're doing in automation or, your controller. So if I will just, go fully random, pay attention that this drive knob here will not change at all, stays always in the same position. Same goes with snapshots. It's always staying in the same position. As soon as I delete this by clicking red dot and click random, it goes completely unhinged. So now you can have another layer of controls during your randomization or, morphing process. So it's like precision, but with some fun twist. Here comes another crazy feature of SnappySnap, and it is actually a very interesting one. It's called MIDI trigger, and you can enable it here, and you can select the octave, and there is some interesting stuff happening here. So I'm having here MIDI clip, and it's replicating the pattern of my drums, basically the groove of my drums. Kick and snare. And also, I'm having on here MIDI receiver from this clip, and it's located before my SnappySnap. So MIDI clip sending data to SnappySnap, right? Now, when I enable this switch and we'll say C1, this will reserve this octave in C1, and each note is representing snapshot, because there is 12 notes, there is 12 snapshots. Now, when I will click play, these notes will trigger snapshots. Of course, I can enable elastic mode here just to have some, some movement. It's going to extreme, but, it's good to have something extreme. And this one is also demonstrates the cool part, because SnappySnap comes as an effects and as MIDI. But internally, SnappySnap don't care you load synth and effects. So you can load SnappySnap MIDI version into your MIDI track, but you can load effect into it. And opposite, you can load anything into anything. And of course, if you want to go creative, you can connect your keyboard or drum pad, and you can drum samples and at the same time effects for these samples. Or you can connect a keyboard, and your left hand will switch presets when you need it, and playing something switch. So anything basically what can send MIDI will be able to switch your snapshots on the fly. So another feature in SnappySnap is very interesting. I don't know if you ever seen something like that, but it's called link lead mode. And settings are located here, link and lead. As you can see, they're very simple, just two toggle switches. So to demonstrate what it does, I'm going here on my drum channel and call in another Snappy, and probably I need to reduce the scale of it so we can fit everything on the screen. Something like that. Show plugin. This one is Saturn on the right side. And inside this one, I decided to load reverb on my drum channel. Just why not? Okay, I'll just quickly create some random stuff here without actually freeze, because freeze will freeze the sound. All right, we're good to go. So on the right side, I will enable link and lead. And on the left side, I will enable link. And as you can see, something happened. Something happened on my reverb. So now my right SnappySnap is connected to another instance of SnappySnap. And whatever I will do here will also replicate the movement and snapshot switching and the morphing and everything on the on the left SnappySnap. And now I'm morphing two plugins at the same time on two different channels inside my DAW. So I will unsolo drums. The amount of stuff you can make with that is wild. I would just say that you can connect not only 2 instances of SnappySnap, you can connect 3, 4, 5. I would just warn you that if you connect so many plugins, the amount of CPU usage will be just skyrocketed. And just be careful, because this is a really, a big benchmark to your CPU usage. And of course, you can send MIDI trigger. As you can see, it is enabled now on both of them. And it will use MIDI trigger from this track if I enable it here. And it now use MIDI notes to change the snapshot. On 2 channels with 2 different plugins, automation, MIDI triggering, anything linked between them. This is mental. So you may ask also why I'm calling it Meta Preset Manager. Because the original idea why I decided to create this was my frustration when I was trying to build my live setup, and inside Bitwig I struggled to find a way how I can effectively switch presets in my plugins. And it was some sort of gambling situation. Sometimes you can do that, sometimes it is like painful. So the core concept here of saving presets, because you can save preset here and it saves not only the state of your plugin, but also the plugin itself. So for example, if I will go here, click load, and I have tags here, Saturn, Serum, and Massive. This tag, the name of the plugin, is added automatically, and then the name you decided during your saving of your preset. So if I will click here, I will have Massive. Then I can load this one with Serum. And now I have Serum. So in core concept, you don't need to think what is producing the sound. Now you just, you have that sound. You shouldn't care what gives you the sound. And the great part about it, I made it that MIDI CC messages can switch banks and also can switch presets. And so any MIDI controller, even internal Bitwig device where you can add MIDI CC, this one, for example, I will change it to 0 and say 1. Now, as you can see here, my banks switch to 2 because CC0 now switching banks, and I will go to 0, and now I'm on bank 0. Same with CC1, so I will change it to CC1, and I will just say, okay, MIDI CC1 preset 1, and now I'm having Saturn here, and now if I will just go 2, and now I'm having Serum. So now you can on the fly use MIDI trigger to switch your snapshots. Now you can use MIDI CC to switch your banks and switch your presets. Also, of course, I kept program change, which also switch in your presets. So you have variety of options to switch your presets and manage them. And the cool part as well, that the presets are basically stored in a folder, and 16 banks and 128 presets in each is, I think, like 2,000 presets. Then you can, for example, zip the folder, send to your friend, he can load it, and he just need to have plugins the same as you, and that's it. This unified preset system, I think it's magical, and how you control them, I think it's like very easy to manipulate everything on the fly. So I hope you enjoyed this plugin. It is available right now on electricsmudge.com. I inserted 18 years of my experience with preset manipulations on hardware and software, and it is there. You can get it now. You can get a free version, it's a tiny one with limited features. You can also get trial version, 7 days trial for the full version. So subscribe to my channel, leave a comment if you found something weird with this plugin, or maybe you created something special, or maybe you have some inspiration. I'll be, happy to hear it, because, I was making it solo by only me, only I did it. I'm Inkie, go do something weird. Oh yeah, I would like to mention there is a small Easter egg there. It is hidden somewhere in UI element, but I will tell you a small hint. It is a small gray font, and you need to click it, I don't know how many times, Just figure this out by yourself.